Taking a look at the Arizona Bowl on New Year's Eve between San Jose State and Ball State. San Jose State comes into this matchup 7-0, undefeated out of the Mountain West Conference with that win over Boise State in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. And Ball State coming in 6-1 MAC champions in the conference championship game, beat Buffalo 38-28. And so here we are, MAC champion versus Mountain West Conference champion. And before we even go inside the numbers, for me, I just think that there's a lot of value in the Mountain West Conference this year, given their matchups. I like Nevada versus Tulane, and they were the runner-ups in that conference. And then all of a sudden, we've got San Jose State playing the MAC conference, the MAC champion, Ball State Cardinals. So for me, I just think that the Mountain West Conference is a tier over the MAC. So with that in mind, initially, I'm going to side with San Jose State, but let's just go inside the number. San Jose State, an 8-point favorite, total of 63. Gives us a projected score of 36-28. Ball State was impressive in that MAC championship game, able to put up 38 points on a pretty decent MAC Buffalo defense, which in my opinion, I think Buffalo's defense is the cream of the crop in the MAC. So let's take a look at San Jose State. Let's take a look at the numbers. Ball State, San Jose State. Before I just say it's a one-way decision for me. San Jose State comes in averaging 30 points a game, giving up 17 a game. Ball State scoring 34, giving up 27. San Jose State a little more, pass heavy, but they've been able to run the ball and be physical when they've had to. 143 per game on the ground, 300 yards in the air passing, but only giving up 113 on the ground, 227 in the air. And so I think that the strength in San Jose State this year and the improvement, I've said that Coastal Carolina, in my opinion, was the most improved team in the FBS this year. If I had to do a number two most improved, I would say that it's San Jose State. That's how much I think of those two teams. Ball State's defense giving up 27 points a game. Like I said, they're giving up 145 on the ground, 295 in the air. So Ball State allowing defensively exactly what San Jose State is averaging offensively per game. On the other side, though, San Jose State's defense has given up 60 fewer yards per game on the ground, and they're giving up 50 yards fewer per game in the air. Now, that does make a lot of sense. You talk Mountain West Conference versus MAC. I think the Ball State offensive numbers are going to be a bit inflated because they play in the MAC. So let's keep that in mind as we go through. And that's the reason why I like San Jose State in this matchup. For me, I know we didn't do confidence picks this year because the way that the bowl schedules have overlapped, the timing wasn't there. Usually we get about 2 weeks to prepare this bowl season guide. We got no time whatsoever to prepare for it. And we're actually updating it and uploading as we go because the bowl season started where the regular season conference championship weeks actually stopped. So the overlapping in schedule and such tight schedule has forced us to really change some things around with the bowl guide this year, which is the reason why I wanted to go ahead and include these videos to add a little bit more context. I know it's taken a little longer to get some of these videos added into the guide, but hopefully they're going to help you as you go in whatever type of bowl league, bowl picks, gambling picks that you might make leading into the season, and then fantasy plays when it comes to DFS. Let's look at the players. We've got Nick Starkel at quarterback for San Jose State. He's thrown 16 touchdown passes, 1,900 yards. He probably goes over 2,000 yards with this bowl game. Nick Nash has filled in for him at times and then also has complimented him in games. He's got 195 rush yards and a rushing TD, a couple of touchdown passes. So he will come into the game and run some select packages that they have set up for Nash. Kyrie Robinson, Tyler Nevins is sort of the 1-2 punch in the backfield. Together, those guys have combined for over 750 yards and 7 touchdowns. Robinson with 12 catches out of the backfield. He leads, Nevins only has 4, so he's the leader out of the backfield when it comes to receiving. But Nevins with 5 TDs compared to Robinson's 2 is a little bit more of the bruiser running back. He's got 5 TDs and has basically 14 fewer rushing attempts than Kerry Robinson. Bailey Gaither, the leading receiver for San Jose State, 41 receptions, 725 yards, 4 touchdowns. Trey Walker, also 4 touchdowns, 546 yards. Those guys are the 1-2 punch. And then you can't forget about Derek Deese when it comes to San Jose State getting the ball in the red zone. 19 receptions on the year. 5 of those have gone for touchdowns. So definitely a red zone threat when San Jose State drives the ball into the red zone. Drew Plitt, quarterback in the Ball State Cardinals, he's got almost 2,000 yards as well. He should go over 2,000 yards in this game. He's got 16 TD passes, so very similar numbers to Nick Starkel. But Drew Plitt is sort of the combination of Starkel and Nash, because Plitt has also rushed for 3 touchdowns this year as well, giving him a total of 19 touchdowns, whereas Starkel and Nash combined for 19 touchdowns. At the running back spot, we don't have Caleb Huntley. So we've got Ty Evans and Will Jones, sort of the 1A, 1B back. And sometimes they ride the hot hand, but Ty Evans has 74 attempts. He's got more attempts than Will Jones. He's got 344 yards, which leads to 2. Each one of those guys with a rushing touchdown. So as you can see, with Caleb Huntley no longer playing, Ball State's offense has kind of transformed a little bit into a more pass-heavy offense, putting the ball in the hands of Drew Plitt, using their receivers, Justin Hall, Johannes Tyler, Antoine Davis, and then even Jalen McGaughey here at the end. Sort of the big play, has made big plays for them down the stretch. He's got 4 catches, 156 yards, and 3 TDs. So he's going to be a hit or miss, but the passing game is going to go through Justin Hall, Johannes Tyler primarily, and then Antoine Davis as well will complement them. He's only got 1 TD catch this year. Justin Hall has 4. Johannes Tyler leads the team with 7. Okay. Tyler's got 504 yards, 7 TDs. For me, he is the red zone target when it comes to Ball State getting the ball deep in the opponent's territory. The versatility, though, of Justin Hall makes him a little bit more of a dangerous fantasy asset and a better fantasy asset. He's got 49 receptions, 665 yards. That leads the team. He's got 4 TD receptions. He's got 231 rushing yards and a rush TD. So he's produced as many rushing TDs as Ty Evans, and he has as many as Will Jones. So I think in this game, they're going to need Justin Hall, and they're going to have to use him in a number of ways and be creative against a pretty decent, a pretty stout, and much improved San Jose State defense. Those are the major players in the game, but how do I see it playing out? Let's get into that. I've been saying all along, I think that there's value in the Mountain West Conference this bowl season, and particularly this game. If I'm going to take the Mountain West Conference, when you look at the games that San Jose State's won, Air Force win, San Diego State win, UNLV, okay, Hawaii, decent, Nevada, I think that's a good win because I actually think that Nevada is improved this year. And then against Boise State, Mountain West Conference championship game. Is this the same Boise State as we're used to seeing year in and year out? I would argue no. But the one thing that I say in those wins against Air Force, against San Diego State, against Nevada this year as well, and Boise State, those are physical teams. Those are teams that Ball State just would not have played in the MAC, with the exception of Buffalo, which is 1 game. You look at the schedule, they played Miami, Ohio. They lost that game. They opened up with a lost air. They beat Eastern Michigan, Northern Illinois. They beat Toledo, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, and then they beat Buffalo in the MAC championship game. I just don't see, we don't have out of conference strengths this year. There's no way to compare those two. So I think you kind of what we have to do is we have to look at these conferences and say, traditionally, what are we used to seeing? What are we used to getting? And if Ball State would have won this Mountain West Conference and it was the Ball State from 2 years ago, would we have ever thought that Boise State, would we have ever thought that Ball State, the MAC champion, would have had a chance against Boise State as a Mountain West Conference champion? let's not disregard San Jose State. I think they're actually pretty darn good. I think they're one of the most, like I said, next to Coastal Carolina, the most improved team in the country. If I had confidence picks on this one, I'd put a ton on San Jose State. That's how good I feel about this matchup. I love San Jose State. I love -8. I think I'm picking San Jose State to win. I'm picking San Jose State to win convincingly. So therefore they cover. And when it comes to the total, I just don't know how Ball State's going to stop San Jose State. I think Ball State's going to be able to score a few points, but if San Jose State can get to the 40 number, I think we get to see that game go over the total of 63. Remember, San Jose State's defense has been good. Excuse me. But they have allowed a few points in some 35-24 wins against Hawaii, 30-20 over Nevada, 34-20 against Boise. So I think San Jose State can get to 40. And in that case, we get Ball State to score 3 touchdowns. We're probably going to get this one to go over. San Jose State's to pick, to win, to cover, and the game to go over the total.